Hello everybody, it's Lucky Fin Gaming here, and welcome back to Ark Survival Evolved, where today I want to talk about the new animals added by the new map Fjordur. So, today I want to talk about how well I think they'll do in-game, talk about their traits, and a little bit about their history. So, without further ado, let's get into this. So let's start with the one that I know everybody wants to start with, and that is the Andrew Circus. Interestingly, originally believed to have been related to canines, it was originally believed that it may have been one of the earliest adaptations or beginning of the evolution of canines. However, that was rethought, and now it's believed that it was more closely related, and even in the same family as entelodons, including daodons and hippopotami. So that actually makes this kind of a family reunion. So that's a little history on the Andrew Circus, but now for it in game, it is massive, just like its real life counterpart. It's believed right now that its real life counterpart may have been the largest land carnivore, mammalian land carnivore to ever exist, being almost the size of an African elephant, which absolutely makes this thing a monster, an absolute monster. So that being said, it does not retain any of the Daodon's healing capabilities, but it does have a few unique traits of its own. So as you can see here, it's kind of got a little drift thing. If you start to take a very deep turn as it builds up some speed there, you have a little charge down there telling you when you can do that exactly down there at the bottom left. So it's got two attacks. It's got its regular bite attack, and then it has a little kick attack just like this. So this is the unsaddled version. You can actually ride these things unsaddled. As far as I've been able to tell, it is just a simple knockout tame. So nothing too surprising there. But this thing really shines when you do this. When you put on its saddle. I took it off just for the short time period, just so I could do that. And as you can see, the thing literally becomes a freaking tank. It literally looks like a tank all the way through with a minigun pointing at the top. I think this is quite possibly the most unique animal they've added to this game yet. It is... This thing just looks so cool. I can't even lie. This thing looks so awesome. It's also got a little feature. Now, originally I thought that you would have to have two people, one who operates the minigun and the other who actually rides it, but that is not the case. You personally, the rider, if you hit for me it's the R3 button. I don't know what it is for console players, but for me on the PlayStation 4 it's the R3 button, and you can run and use the minigun. It uses the R2 to use the minigun. So that is just, it's just amazing. You can use the minigun and ride the thing at the same time. This is the first animal where I think they've actually added that ability. I think the only one that comes close is the Velonosaur. The only thing is that when it's using this mode, it does become a little bit more complicated to ride. But you know, once you get used to it, it's not so bad. So all that being said, one of the cool things about it is this is a pick blocker, so you cannot be picked off this thing. So you know, that's a fantastic thing to start with. It's actually got a pretty good jump capability, and as you can see, you can kind of do that little drift thing coming right out of that. So all that being said, do I think this is an excellent addition to the game? Absolutely. Absolutely. I can see this thing being... I don't know if it's going to... I mean, obviously, there are no Giga killers with the exception of the Woolly Rhino. The Woolly Rhino is just fantastic for killing Gigas. But I think this thing could make for a fairly effective anti-flyer, anti-manic armor tool. You know, I mean, it can turn all the way, like, basically straight up, as you can see. And fire almost straight up. So, you know, people who are using their manic armors and things, you know, they can come and freeze you. And I did some testing on this earlier. Unfortunately, I have nobody to test this with right now, but we were doing some testing, and even though the animal itself will get frozen by a manic armor, you can continue to shoot this minigun. So even when they're freezing you, you're still shooting them with a minigun. And you know, I can see people, you know, once you get really good with this minigun, they'll probably just be shooting people off of their tames with the minigun itself. So all that being said, I think this is definitely a 10 out of 10 rating. You know, this thing is just absolutely is a monster added to Ark. So yeah, definitely overall I think it's a fantastic tame, fantastic addition to the game. About the Desmodis, or the giant bat that you can fly on. So really there's no historical application that I can really give you guys about the Desmodis. Desmodis, or Desmodii, is just simply the family of vampire bats. So really there's no historical reference to this thing. The closest thing we have is the Onik, which was a historical bat. But no, the Desmodis really has no strong bearing in archaeological or paleontological history. It's just a giant vampire bat. The nearest thing I could equate it to is something like the giant gargoyles that you see on some buildings, especially in areas like Transylvania. So all that being said, let's talk about the Desmodis and its abilities. So first of all, you may see that it is another agile flyer. That is a fantastic little thing here. It's actually also got pretty good stam. I put no levels into this, and it starts off at level 225, so assuming you had perfect tame, it would have about 1200 stam, which is really good to start with. Like I said, it is very agile in the air, possessing the same capabilities as griffins and tapiharas. Furthermore, it does have a gliding ability, although I would say it's not quite as good as the griffins or snow owls, but overall it is not bad. I think it's definitely more used for travel. It does not have any kind of swooping attack. See, if I do this, it doesn't really do anything. It just has a regular old attack. So really nothing overly special about its swooping. It's just very agile in the air. Not super fast, slower than, I would say it's about as fast as a PT. Slower than wyverns, but faster than tapiharas, and faster than griffins at a normal sprint speed. So that being said, we can go ahead and land for just a minute. Let it build up some more stamina. So interestingly, when you attack something, let me go find something to attack. I should have spawned something to attack. Interestingly, when you attack, let's see, is there anything in its inventory? It killed a Pago Mime stacks earlier. Okay, so you can build saying this elixir in here. I'm not really sure what it does, but I know you can build them if you have 200 blood packs, and this thing is fantastic for getting said blood packs. If I can find something to attack here, there's a parasaur right over there. That's a tech parasaur, though. It may not work with the tech parasaur. We'll have to see. Oh yes, it does. So as you can see, when I'm attacking, instead of getting regular instead of getting what it usually, you know, like meats and things, or instead of, you know, just doing damage like most other things, it actually gets those blood packs. It takes little blood packs off periodically, and then it will actually eat the blood packs inside of the animal, which actually heals it considerably. So this thing it kind of works like a like the blood wyvern in that way, except that it just, you know, drinks the blood out of its inventory, which heals it up very quickly. So as you can see, we got another couple of blood packs there. And also, interestingly, it gets some spoiled meat. I think that has to do with the whole bat trait. It seems to only eat the raw meat. The spoiled meat doesn't really seem to do anything for it, so I'm not sure why it gets spoiled meat so quickly. But, you know, I mean, that's good for if you need narcotics. It's good for a narcotic farm. Another thing it is actually interestingly good for is if I can grab it, there we go. It can actually pick up things. It can't pick up as much as an RG, so I would say it's kind of in between a Tapihara and an RG. So it can pick up something about as big as a direwolf or a Daedon, but it can't pick up anything bigger. So the Ankylosaurus, it cannot pick up an Anky, so unfortunately it will not be replacing RGs as far as picking up Ankies and stuff. But overall, it can still pick up things like Daedons. It cannot pick up Parasaurs. It is not big enough to pick up a Parasaur, so you will not be doing that with it. But but it can pick up some things, which is, you know, still a massive convenience. It cannot walk backwards, but it can walk forwards on the ground. It has another interesting ability. I mean, whoops, I'm going to lag there a little bit. Obviousness is obvious. It's a bat, so of course it can grapple and hang upside down from roofs. And then if you just get off of it here, let's find more of a flat base. I think this one will work just fine. And then if you get right here, you can see it just kind of hangs on to the side. And it goes invisible, which is just absolutely fantastic. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is the first time I've actually seen it do this. I don't know if this is... I think I just sat here. Wow, I've never seen this before. That's cool. Alright, well, that's a thing. And then, of course, you can pull out guns and use them on the back of the animal. So, of course, this thing could be definitely useful for some more stealthy tactics. I already knew you could use the gun and you can actually fly on it. So I think as far as this goes, we actually have some competition for the Griffin now. As you can see, I can use my gun on the back of it. So now the Griffin does have a little competition as far as being able to use a gun on the back of an animal. The only problem is I'm not really sure how to tame it. I'm going to have to do some research on how to tame them. I hadn't really looked into it yet. I've just kind of been making these videos. I work a lot, as you guys know, so I hadn't really had the opportunity to study it very intensely. But still, the Fjordur Desmodis bat, an excellent addition. I would definitely say it's at least an 8 out of 10. Fantastic addition to the game. Oh, and one other thing, biting humans does give them mega rabies. So if you bite humans with this, you will be inflicting your foes with a deadly case of mega rabies. So all that being said, definitely fantastic addition to the game. We have the Fjord Hawk, and may I just say, I love the colors on this thing. I love the orange and black on it. But that aside, the Fjord Hawk, I wish I had some more interesting things to say about this one, but I just really don't, except to say that it's mostly just kind of comparable to two other animals that we already have, the Pagomastics and the Ichthyornis bird, the seagull, the little seagull that flies around and just steals your stuff. So while this one does have the ability to go and steal valuables off of your opponents, unfortunately this isn't a specific niche that the Fjord Hawk is creating. It's just one that is following on, so it's not really bringing anything new. Not only that, but the niche is just not very widely used. I don't think I've played a lot of official. I've been wiped a lot of times, so I've had to restart. I've played on a lot of private servers, started on a lot of private servers. I don't think I've ever had anybody use a Ichthyornis or a Pagomastix to ever come and steal anything from me. Most of the time, if you're going to use anything like this, you're going to want to, you just want to kill the person. You don't just want to steal one thing and then have your Fjord Hawk bring it back to you, or Ichthyornis or Pagomastix. So really, I don't know that it's general state, like what it's intended to be used for. I don't know that that's ever going to be all that useful. But overall, it as you can see, it does actually have quite a bit of weight. So I think this thing could make a decent companion as far as like defending you goes. I would compare it to I'd say its attack, from what I've seen, is about the same as a what are the little flying reptiles? Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's about the same as one of those. I'm sure the name will come to me eventually. But anyway, it's about the same. It's pretty good for personal defense, and of course you can carry it on your shoulder. If I go to orbit camera here, as you can see, she just kind of sits on my shoulder there. So a little convenient. You can just kind of throw it off. And the one benefit it does give you is, as you saw there, when I hold it, it does give you a Fjord Hawk invulnerability. So nobody else can use the Fjord Hawk on me while I have my Fjord Hawk on me. So I can't actually be attacked by an enemy Fjord Hawk while my Fjord Hawk is on my shoulder, which honestly, I mean, if that's all it takes to avoid getting attacked by somebody with a Fjord Hawk, that just kind of lowers this thing's capabilities for me. Uh, it's relatively fast, actually, if I follow. As you can see, it's outspeeding me, and admittedly I'm no speed demon, but I think it'll definitely, you know, I mean, if you need it for like following you and protecting you, and you'd rather have a different animal on your shoulder, I think it'll definitely keep up. It's not keeping up with like any wyverns or anything, but it'll, you know, it'll do the job if you're out, you know. So all that being said, the Fjord Hawk, I think it's a cute addition, but I just don't see it, like, you know, it's something that I would tame and breed just to tame and breed, you know, just to have a side animal, you know, just a cool animal to have. But as far as like making any massive waves on the meta, I just don't think it's going to do that. So that's the Fjord. Alright guys, and lastly, one thing I want to talk about real briefly. I was really hoping that we could have a little change in this, but unfortunately it just did not happen. I was hoping we would get an update on the Onik, the little bat that we have had in Ark really since the beginning. This is one of the earliest animals that was ever added to the game, but unfortunately they have not changed this animal at all. I'd say the only difference is it now will inflict mega rabies, but that has been around for a little while. I was really hoping they would change this thing, make it to where maybe, I don't know, it can sit on your shoulder, at least make it to where it doesn't fly all the time, but unfortunately, as you can see, there is no capability to change that. I can't tell if this is a glitch or not. Well, I mean, obviously it's a glitch because you can't ride the Onik, so it's saying to equip a saddle to ride. You can't equip a saddle to it. There is no ability to tell it to land. If I come here and I whistle, let me see, where is it? Flyer land. Where is it? Where is it? There. If I whistle flyer land, obviously it cannot do that. The only thing this thing is capable of is just flying in place. So that's unfortunate. No updates to the Onik. I was really hoping we'd get a little bit of an update for these guys and they'd, you know, become a little more useful. But unfortunately, it seems that they just remain cave guardians and nothing else. Alright guys, well that's all I have for you. I hope you all enjoyed my rankings and just generally talking about these little animals. So, all that being said, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in another time and dimension, whenever or wherever that may be. Till then, peace out.